there, I'm Elizabeth Hines from OurPaleoFamily.com, and if you have just randomly found this video, what I'm doing is a series for the Whole 30, which is an elimination diet where we cut out all grains, all dairy, all sugar. So for me personally, this is very similar to the paleo diet that I follow on a regular basis. But I was allowing some dairy to creep back in, like cream in my coffee and occasional ice cream, and just when I felt like it, cheese in my eggs, because I felt like I was feeling fine when I ate dairy. And I would put stevia in my coffee, and I would eat paleo treats made with maple syrup and honey. And I just felt like it was time for a little bit of a refresh, and especially right before the holidays, hoping honestly that I would be able to curb my sweet tooth a little bit. So I have been doing a video for each day. So we're on day 10. This is my 10th video showing what I'm making for dinner, or one day it was a lunch. And hopefully showing you some really yummy recipes that aren't too complicated and taste really good. And I know some people can make it through something like this Whole 30 by cooking a couple really big roasts and dividing that up and eating, you know, a pork roast, a beef roast, maybe a roasted chicken, and doing some different things with those meats for a whole bunch of their days. But I have something called histamine intolerance, which, long story short, means I can't eat leftover protein very well without feeling sick. And so as a result, I don't eat leftovers. I can't work that way, which means I'm making a new meal every day. And there have to be other people like me, or maybe you just have a really large family and you have such a large family that you don't have leftovers. It would be really hard for you to cook so much that you had leftovers. So regardless, I'm planning to give you for this Whole 30 at least 30 recipes, different recipes, and showing you how to make them. So this one, I call it Shake and Bake Chicken Nuggets, and this recipe's been on my website for a while. It has a lot of options. You can do a paleo breading, or you can even do an autoimmune paleo breading, which would use a different kind of flour. I'm doing the paleo version tonight, and that has almond flour in it. The autoimmune paleo version, because you can't have nuts on the AIP diet, it uses cassava flour, and actually both taste really good. And you leave the A out of the wet portion of the batter. So if you go to the website and look up the recipe, it's there, and there are a couple different options. Don't be overwhelmed by the long list of ingredients. It's simply you choose this breading or this breading. Okay, let me put this to the side. So what I was trying when I created this recipe, what I was trying to replicate was Chick-fil-A. So if you live in a part of the country that doesn't have Chick-fil-A, I'm sorry. But here in the South, we love our Chick-fil-A, and they even have some gluten-free options. So that's really great. It gives us a decent option for when we're traveling. And they apparently, so goes the rumor, because I don't know that they've ever really told people what their recipe is, but there are lots of copycat recipes online, and most of them start with marinating the chicken in dill pickle juice. So it just so happens that my son loves pickles, and last summer we had a bumper crop of cucumbers in our garden, so I made lots and lots and lots of pickles. And so, you know, pickle juice is mostly vinegar, and it lasts forever. So as he finishes up a jar of, sorry, I'm trying to keep my phone awake here so I can look at my recipe. As he would finish a jar of pickles, I would just put the jar of the juice back in the fridge, and I use it whenever I make the chicken nuggets. And on my recipe, I said to marinate for 3 hours or overnight, and I actually need to change that because of all the vinegar, it will start to almost cook the chicken, and it'll make it a little bit more tough. And then sometimes also it can make that pickle flavor a little too strong. So mine actually has just been marinating for about an hour because I totally forgot to do it before I left this morning, and I was gone all day. So it just marinated for an hour. I can smell it. There's all this garlic and the mustard seeds and the dill, and it has a great fragrance. So I just have blotted off that pickle juice, and now I'm going to put my pieces of chicken into my liquid mixture here, which is coconut milk, full fat coconut milk, and an egg, and some salt and pepper. And I have just beat that up. I think that's all I have in here. Yes, that's all that's in here. So I'm going to do about half of my pieces of chicken, and this is not 2 full pounds of chicken. My recipe calls for 2 pounds because I buy the chicken breasts that come in a bag. They're cheaper that way, and they're always 2-pound bags. So often I will do the whole 2 pounds, but I'm going to be a little bit more frugal this week, and I'm going to use the rest of that bag of chicken for a different recipe. So then in my bag, so I'm going to kind of shake so we don't have a lot of excess liquid getting in here. I'm going to throw these pieces of chicken in my breading mix, which is almond flour, arrowroot, garlic, salt, onion powder, pepper, just regular black pepper, and then some additional salt. And I'm going to give it a shake. I'm going to just squeeze this and shake it around. And I have my baking sheet here, my rimmed baking sheet. If I were doing the full 2 pounds of chicken, I would need 2 of these because you don't want your chicken laying on top of each other. And then I'm just going to lay these out. And I have covered my pan with nonstick foil. You could use nonstick foil or parchment paper, or you could use nothing. You don't have to put a covering on your pan, but it will make your cleanup faster. And the foil helps the chicken to get even crispier, so I like that. All right, and in my instructions I also say, once you have gotten the breading on your chicken, to allow it to rest for about 20 minutes before you bake. And that is a trick I learned from one of the Food Network shows years ago. And it does help the breading to stick on a little bit better, and comes out with a really nice finished crispy nugget at the end. So if you have time, you can let your chicken sit for a few minutes before you put it in the oven. If you don't have time, don't worry about it. Just bake it. It'll be fine. And so I'm looking at my clock. I have about 15 minutes that I can let my chicken rest before I get it in the oven. So I'll use that 15 minutes. And so it has this nice coating on it. Something, I haven't looked at this recipe for a while because I wrote it quite a while ago. But when I was creating this recipe, I remember trying out a couple different things to see if I could get really good crunchy coating on my chicken. And one of the things you can do is add a little bit of liquid to your breading and mix that up. Some of my chicken got stuck together, and so there would be one piece of it that didn't have the flour on it, so I'm just making sure it's coated all around. If you added a little bit of liquid to your dry ingredients and shake that up really well, and then you'll get some kind of lumpy bits, and then put your chicken in, and then you get some bigger pieces of the breading on your chicken, and that's really good too. But I just decided not to do that tonight. We'll keep it nice and simple. So here's my chicken. It's all ready. I'm just going to let it sit for about 15 minutes, and then I'm going to bake it and put together a big salad. So I'll be back and show you the finished product in about 30 minutes. Hi there, welcome back. So I have my chicken nuggets in the oven. They're almost finished, but I just wanted to pull the meal together for you. So I've given everybody a pile of lettuce on their plate, and in my bowl I have some veggies so everybody can kind of do this salad bar style and get what they want. I'll cut my avocado at the last minute so that it doesn't brown. And I found these at Aldi this week. If you don't have Aldi, or if you don't know if you have Aldi, it's a grocery store chain. They're actually owned by the same parent company that owns Trader Joe's. So you'll find a lot of the same foods at Aldi, but for less money. They have lots of great snack foods like dried nuts and fruits, and my kids like those little containers of applesauce or mandarin oranges. They have lots of that kind of thing. They also have meat. They usually have grass-fed ground beef. although it's the same price or sometimes cheaper at my Whole Foods. So, and that comes from a North Carolina farm, so I prefer to buy it there. But Aldi is a great budget-friendly grocery store. And anyway, this week when I was picking up some stuff for my kids' lunches, I saw these pumpkin seeds, and they were new. They hadn't had them before. And they're simply roasted pumpkin seeds with salt. There's no oil, which, you know, usually this kind of packaged food is going to have canola oil or sunflower oil or safflower oil, one of those inflammatory oils. And that's one thing I love about Aldi, is that they do have some nuts that are roasted with peanut oil, and I've seen a couple with canola oil, but I can get almonds that are just almonds and salt, and I have these pumpkin seeds that are pumpkin seeds and salt. So anyway, that's going to be a great crunchy topping on my salad. That's going to add a lot of fiber. And my salad dressing is going to be this ranch that I made earlier in the week, and this recipe is in my book, and I also made it in one of the earlier videos, so you can look for that. But then I'm also going to make my honey mustard, which has no has no honey in it, because we can't have any honey on the Whole30. If I were not doing a Whole30, I would add some honey to this, or maple syrup, or more likely some drops of liquid stevia. But I'm still going to make it because I think it's going to taste kind of sweet to me, because I haven't had anything even remotely sweet for 10 days. And I'm kind of tired of the ranch, frankly, which has dill and chives in it, and I'm just kind of tired of that flavor, so I want a different option. Let me check my chicken. There were a couple of those that were basically 3-sided, so I just wanted to flip them onto the third side, so all 3 kind of main flat sides are brown. So I've got mayonnaise and just regular yellow mustard. You could use Dijon mustard if you like, and a little bit of coconut aminos for some extra flavor. And this is going to be my sauce. I might end up adding a little salt and pepper. I'll taste it and see what I think of it. This could be salad dressing, or it could be dipping sauce for your nuggets. And in my shake and bake chicken nugget recipe, I have a recipe for horseradish honey mustard, which is awesome. If you can find fresh horseradish in your produce section, it looks kind of like a fat white carrot, and you grate it on the fine like cheese grater, and it is really, really yummy. You could use horseradish that comes in the jar, but usually those are mayonnaise based, and of course the mayonnaise they're using is made with soybean oil or corn oil, something like that, and we like to avoid that. So if you can find fresh horseradish, it's delicious, and I feel like I can find it kind of in spurts. I haven't seen it for a little while in my store, so I don't have any today. On my chicken, so it's chicken breast, which is kind of dry and not very much fat. There is some fat in the egg and coconut milk that was in the coating, and then the almond flour, of course, but it's a pretty thin coating on that chicken. And frankly, they're not listening, but I need to get some more fat in my children's diets. When they're young, the fat is really good for their brain development, among other things. And like my son will eat a piece of bacon and he'll pull the fat off and only eat the meaty parts. So I have a really hard time getting fat in them. My daughter at least likes butter, so she'll occasionally have a piece of gluten-free bread and toast that for breakfast, and she'll put butter on it. But he doesn't like butter, and he doesn't like a lot of sauces, so I can't fatten him up with my good homemade mayonnaise. So anyway, I drizzled a little avocado oil on my chicken when I flipped it over halfway through the cooking, and it will, the chicken would have gotten nice and brown without that, but it'll make my chicken a little shinier than yours if you choose not to do that. But I did it simply to get some fat in my kids. So I'm going to taste my dressing with a plain leaf right here and see if this tastes okay to me. It tastes good to me. I like it. It's not sweet at all. So I may serve it to myself and then add a little honey for my family and let them enjoy the sweetness. Let me get my chicken out. And here are it's going to slide. You see my chicken nuggets? They're nice and brown. They are definitely cooked all the way through. I used that spatula when they weren't cooked, so let me get a clean one. Even on my non-stick, they're kind of sticking today, which is unusual. So here's the fattest one. I'm just going to cut it in half. It's done all the way through. They're so hot, I can't eat them right now, but because they're really hot, some salt will adhere, and so I just want to sprinkle a little bit of salt right at the end. A little sea salt, some mineral salt. It'll add some good trace minerals and punch up the flavor. And I'm going to give, this is totally inappropriate for Whole30, however, these I overbaked a little bit. But if you've gone to my website, ourpaleofamily.com, and if you noticed scrolling across the top, one of those banner pictures says, my cookies are for sale. And I sell 5 different types of paleo treats. I have chocolate chip cookies, which is what these are. Chocolate chip with nuts, molasses gingerbread, which are the best, a shortbread cookie, and then what I call better than baklava. And it really will fulfill that craving for baklava that you're missing. It has an amazing flavor and texture. Those are awesome. And I sell them locally here, but I also mail order them. And I make it my goal to not bake anything homemade from scratch because I can't resist it while I'm doing a Whole30 or some sort of elimination diet, or if I just can't have sugar. But I needed to make a meal for someone at church who has a sick family member, and I had some cookie dough balls in the freezer from the last time I made the dough, and so I wanted to take them a paleo meal, which includes a dessert. I always like to take people a treat when I take them a meal. So I had to bake the cookies, and they smell so good. So when you're done with your Whole30, if you would like to try some of my paleo treats, please order them, and I will ship them right to you. You can order them from my website. So that is Whole30 dinner number 10, shake and bake chicken nuggets with a great big hearty salad, and probably will let my family have one of those cookies for dessert, but I will not partake for now. So good luck with the rest of your Whole30. Hope it's going well, and I will see you back here tomorrow.